Well, big time shout out to Brandon Campbell letting us know the program died. Yeah, I'm blaming Brandon. He walked over the cord, the invisible cordless headset, and he unplugged the internet. I don't know what happened, but we're back up. We did miss a wreck, but we're back up and running. Action stage left,
A wreck?
action stage right. Well, there was like
Wreck?
two
Come
wrecks.
on.
There was a couple of wrecks, maybe. But Dylan, it looks like we got everything sorted out. I think.
Well, you know they're going to wreck now after saying that, but we appreciate you tuning back in. Apologize for that. Brandon, yanking cords and touching stuff he's not supposed to touch. We're going to go back green flag racing here in just a moment. Still Matt Barkhouse and Tom Axum at the front of the field coming up to lap 25 of this 300er. It's been a race of attrition in this short little part here as the green is back out, Matt.
I mean, can you blame Brandon Campbell for trying to get every advantage he can? Kind of needs to help.
Yeah. Exactly.
Take a look here, side by side.
I'll rip around the racetrack here.
And Christian trying to get around the fourth.
Terry, right now it's all stacked up behind Travis Roma. You can see in that number 38 car, two wide racing right behind the 38, and looks like the 97 trying the outside.
Yeah, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his last name, but Tyler's doing a good job there. Trying to work through this field. He's got that outside lane ripping. He'll try to get around Christensen there for that fourth place spot, and at the 75 of Alexander. Being a little bit more patient than what we saw early on in the race, but now that we've got some laps in here, we'll see if these drivers are able to keep their calm ahead of them. You take a look at an on-board shot with Mike Alexander. You see Tyler up there in that 97 still trying to work the outside lane, and that doesn't work too well here, Matt, around South Boston.
No, as you can see, like the 75 trying to get underneath the 97, and it's just 97 cannot make any ground on the outside. You can get a bit of a run, like on the outside on exit, but just going on the inside is just nothing there.
Oh, what happened?
Caution flag flies once again. That loud, mellow Mountain Dew, Major Melon Mountain Dew Zero, number 25 car of Danny Vitch. I'm gonna nail that one of these days. Finds himself crinkled up like a Mountain Dew can, pointed in the wrong direction. Got a little bit of help. It looks like some hard racing between he, the 13, and Noel Fouchier in the 36. You can see that 36 car is pretty war torn. Lots of damage around that rig, and looks like it's going to bring out, I believe this is the fourth or fifth caution that we've had here tonight. So drivers trying to knock the cobwebs off just a little bit. Spent a lot of time last night getting qualified up for this event, and want to put on a show here for us for the fans at Vidane TV.
Going to be a tough thing here, Terry, too, with this racetrack. And much like many racetracks across Canada and North America, you've got the inside wall and the outside wall. In South Boston, not the biggest racetrack around, so there's not a lot of room for these drivers to make a mistake. There's no grass they can try and save their car. They're either going hitting concrete or safer barrier on the outside.
Yeah, you don't really get an option around this racetrack. And first race I got to watch here was about 3 weeks ago. I watched the Carolina Crate Modified Series race around here for a one-off event, Prelude and NASCAR Wheel and Modified Series, and an amazing facility from start to finish, but not a lot of room like you talked about. If you make one mistake off the exit, if you charge the entry of this racetrack, you're in for a bad day. You come right up off the bottom, you'll go to that middle groove, and a lot of these drivers right now just kind of testing the waters. We have 300 of these laps, Dylan, and they're definitely trying their hardest to wreck every single one of them.
No, we just met here tonight, but we both know the drivers and patience. I don't think that word usually exists in their vocabulary.
No, I barely get to race on the iRacing platform, but when I do, I don't even have patience. And I preach it all day on the broadcast, but the moment you sit down and you start shifting through the gears, your patience goes out the window because somebody is always going to be dumb.
You got to think, too, there's the opportunity of, oh, I can get to the front right now and hopefully stay there. The two guys that have been staying up front through all these cautions is Barkhouse and Axum as they get ready to take the green flag. And Axum gets a dynamite restart on the inside. We're back green flag racing in the 300.
Yeah, back green flag racing here. They'll single file on the first two, but you see it there, the 38 of Roma and the 24 of Christensen, and they're going to fight it out there side by side for the second and third row here. Start to single out file behind them as we almost had a 3 wide, that little spot there, and the 75 of Alexander is in the spot he was in a little bit earlier with the 97 breathing right down his neck.
I just want to point out, while watching this iRacing event, comparing to the Cars Throw Late model race that happened a couple weeks ago at South Boston, if you're on the high side, you almost have to pinch the driver that's below you in order to make any sort of gain on that position. So working the outside line can, be tedious, and you have to be patient with it in order to make that ground up.
Tough anywhere where you're trying to use an outside line, and like you said, Matt, you're trying your best to pinch him down and close him, but not get too close. One bad hit on these cars, and you're going to have a bad day early on here in this 300. But like Terry was saying, it's mostly single file around the racetrack right now. It's lap 41 here of the 300, and we're seeing Ryan Messer, a driver who had to race their way through the Consi. They're in the middle of this field. Now we're back watching Magic Mike Alexander and Roma tangle up further in the field here. Some good racing all around, trying to get some solid green flag laps. And there's Aiden Christensen, Terry. He's on the outside, as Matt was saying, just trying to pinch down and see if he can stay with these boys.
Yeah, and he's doing a great job, too. I mean, he's stuck there for the majority of this race. He has not really been let in. It's kind of like the Martinsville S racetrack where you're not letting anybody just take that bottom position, and Christensen gets stuck up there. Here comes Alexander. He'll pinch his nose in here, and you see here, he's to the outside of the 38 of Roma for third, and then he's also got the challenge for fifth going on behind him as well. Nobody is cutting an inch here in this top little bit, but knock on wood, solid green flag run here thus far as everybody kind of just, minds their P's and Q's for the time being.
I hope you got a big solid piece of oak near you. Worried that we're going to see something happen, and it very well could. It could take just one corner where you're sliding and then tapping into someone on the outside to bring out a caution to re-rack them and stack them. We heard Tim Terry mention 5 sets of tires, the set that's on the car, and the 4 is the option there as everyone's trying to find and slide into each other. Mike Alexander and Aiden Christensen trying to go for the same real estate. So the pitch strategy is going to be pretty interesting in this race if there's a ton of cautions, and who will take that gamble, Matt, to try and get some fresh rubber on the car.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we're almost 50 laps into this event too. As much as this is a long race, 4 sets of tires. Is there a fine line between saving what you have, or do you want to try to work your way to the front and then just pit when you can to get fresh rubber?
For sure, right? There's no stage racing like in NASCAR. There's not going to be predetermined breaks. But the way these guys are going to be racing, there's bound to be a yellow flag eventually here. And a lot of drivers will take advantage. And it's interesting even at the real racetrack, Terry, to see different pitch strategies of who takes that gamble of waiting until the last possible moment to make that stop, or who goes earlier, hopes that there's enough caution laps so they're not wearing their stuff out.
Yeah, we got currently only 18 drivers on the lead lap, and you're destined to go, if you go down pit lane under the green flag conditions, if that is what is going to happen, you could lose potentially 3 laps here at this racetrack. So it will be curious to see what driver does take advantage. Barring, all heck breaking loose, if they come down pit lane, I would imagine we'd get to probably the 150 lap mark. The tires, they wear out, but if you look at the lap times of the green flag laps we have ran, we've only really fallen off 0.3 of a second from our fast drivers, which they're all in the ones at the moment. So Nothing too crazy on the tire wear, and we'll just see how the cycles progress as we continue to roll through. And the track's also cooling down too. There's another grip factor in there as well, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, with sun going down, cooler temperatures, you're gonna get more grip into your tires. So you're not gonna wear as much and be able to make that last. So with, like I said, with that in mind, with four sets left to use, if you're even top 10, really, top 5, top 10, you should be fine to really gamble on it to make it last. But if I'm back towards 11th on back, I would want to try to charge my way up front, and then switch out tires when I'm losing ground again.
Like, you got to be careful, like Terry was saying. You do not want to do that during a green flag run, because going down 3 or 4 laps and you're going to be riding at the back of this 300, and the only way you're going to get back in the lead lap is hoping there's a lot of cautions where you're going to get that lucky dog and get that chance to get the wave around. We're watching Tommy Axum right now winning this race in front of Matt Barkhouse, but Matt's another one of those drivers who knows how to save their stuff and be in this position to try and win. So there's the top 2 battling right there. Thomas Axum in front, followed by Matt Barkhouse. Travis Roman, the 38th, biding their time, sitting in 3rd, and Mike Alexander, the brother of Matt Barkhouse, is running in 4th. And then we get to Aiden Christensen, who is a driver on the outside. Now they're in front of the number 97 car, Terry, after they were running on the outside for a little bit.
Yeah, you got Tyler DeVinzio back there in the 97, just riding outside the top 5. Josh Lane Gill, I think I said that one right, sitting back there in 7th.
Angel.
Yeah.
The only reason is that's my last name. That's the only way that's the only one I'll correct on the show. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Southern. You got Ryan Messer, who did have to win his way in. He's up here inside the top 10. Has had a decent run, and then you got Brett Byron in 9th, and Campbell Delaney. We saw him a little bit earlier. He's currently sitting in the top 10 and got a provisional to race in this one as well. And there's Jason Goss. He got a provisional as well. He's up here trying to fight inside the top 10, showing some speed. Brandon Campbell's another one. Then the only one that I'm truly 100% familiar with is caution flag waves. And that's Aiden Christensen and the 97 top 5 runners. Big trouble.
Trouble in
what the heck happened as we were going through the field?
Yeah, you can see they got a little heated battle here, side by side, up in at the mix, and oh man, hard contact again. Doing what is it? That's with the skateboard thing. You get up there. That's a grind? I think. 24 car trying to do some.
That was a grind,
tricks
yeah.
On the outside wall there.
I'm guessing right before the 97 must have got around the 24, or at least a little bit beforehand, because the 24 when we were going through in front. So we actually got to go back a little bit.
Yeah. Aha.
So watch right here. Here we go. Okay, we got it all tuned up and gooned up for you here. So let's watch the 97. Tyler, he gives a little bit of a bumper. Yeah, gets that 24 a little loose there at a turn 2. They rip down the back straightaway, and Aiden gets back in front of Josh, and then he gives a little bit of the business to the 97 again, and then business Terry, and then this business.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of surprising because those two have been virtually side by side all race long, and just not the move that I thought Aiden would do in that moment. I didn't really expect him to cut across the nose. Maybe he was just trying to pinch him up against the wall and hope that, he would play a little, which one of us is going to be chicken and which one of us is going to back out and give the spot to the other. And they both go into the wall. There's no fast repair, so you're fixing the damage on your own. Whatever you got, you have to deal with the rest of the race. Unfortunately for the 97, he really didn't have to go to the back, but how much damage is to the right side of that machine? Aiden, he goes to the back. He was the cause of that, and there's the 2 of Todd Cousins. He's had an awful night because now he's done, and that's an awful lot of damage there, Dylan, for him, and he's got time to fix it, but he's going to go some laps down.
Yeah, that's the nature of the beast with this racing thing, as we see drivers move up the line a little bit after some drivers will take advantage of this early caution, including Matt Barkhouse. So Matt went to the pits. Devernham is going to move up to second on the outside here. So it looks like Gaxon's going to be back on the point. Green flag is back out in the 300. 71 in the books here. See if Matt can get back up to second. And Tom Axum keeping the lead even on this restart.
Yeah, and you can see a little bit of argy-bargy right there with the 8. Not necessarily, well, that's apparently not the 8. Oh, contacts made there with Roma, and that's the 18. Not going to get that last name correct, but Josh there in the 18, the Bojangles machine. Hopefully he has an ice-cold Coca-Cola Zero Sugar to wash down those dry biscuits.
I would love a Bojangles up here in Canada. We need him. And Langell, you were both times Terry. It's 18 on the ticker, 8 on racetrack. Either way, Josh there in the Bojangles car will settle in behind the number 38 Travis Roman. Again, everyone gets right on the bottom mat, trying to get that grip. There's big Brandon Campbell right behind Mike Alexander.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think with the aggression that was going on there with the 8, and I can't remember who he was with there, it just seems like we're not even a third of the way through this race, and everyone seems to be either really aggressive or they're just buying their time. They're can't seem to make their mind up if they want to be super aggressive or not. Terry, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, you got a lot of aggression. I mean, it's early, and you got to think a lot of these drivers don't necessarily race around each other that much in the sim. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these drivers are friends with one another. Only 2 Americans in the field, or 3 Americans. I'm sorry, 3 Americans in the field. The rest are Canadian. So while they're out here racing one another, this is a difficult racetrack to get around. You have to temper some aggression, but you also still have to find speed, and I think that's going to be the biggest takeaway here. Track's going to get cool. Tempers are going to get hot. I mean, you take a look here, the 41 of Goss, he just sailed that thing in the corner. He found something somewhere in that B main as he washed up the track. I talked about that earlier too, Dylan. You sit in there too hard, you're going to go into the second lane, and he puts the 9 right in the wall.
Ooh. And Campbell hit the wall again, and you can't hit those walls too many times before it starts messing up more than just the tire wear and the sheet metal. You're going to be breaking some internal components, easy for me to say, as now we have a POV shot from Ryan Messer as they're working underneath the number 9 cars of Campbell. A couple of hard hits here at South Boston. That Virginia concrete is not super forgiving for these super late models, as Thomas Axum is still the leader on lap 82.
Yeah, still got that lead, and he's actually pulled away. He's not the fastest. He's not the fastest single lap time layer on the field. That's Matthew Barkhouse, and that's also when he had the race lead. Or sorry, when he was second on the initial 2 laps, where he set that time of 14.772. But at the moment, him and Axum has just split the difference. One lap, Axum's faster. The next half, Barkhouse is faster as well, and Matt, you might be able to allude to this a little more. What are they doing different from one lap to the other?
Well, it kind of looks like, from what I can tell, that Barkhouse is going just maybe half a lane higher going into 1 and 2. And I can see he's closing in every every lap and getting to that bumper, and see we're approaching lap traffic now, so that might come into a play here. But we see here he's a little bit lower than the 13 going in 3 or 4, and he seems to be a little bit higher in 1 and 2, a little lower here. He's finding speed where just grip outside, like down below the line on the apron, and he's able to corner just a little bit better, seems to be.
Matt Barkhouse is just one of those racers here with the TCM events. You can always count on them being at the top of the field And it's no different right now in this 300. So I bet they're just biding their time and maybe flexing that muscle a little bit, Terry. Don't want to use it up certainly now as we're getting close to the first third of this race.
Oh,
Car riding the wall. Two that would just want to lap down.
That's a 2 of Todd Cousins, and he was on pit lane with a lot of damage. And I didn't see a lot of contact, but Paul, maybe you'll shed some light on it.
Yeah, it seems like he's definitely struggling with the handling here. A lot of damage on the left side, all the way around that race car, it looks like. And as he was kind of letting the leaders go by down on the bottom side, just almost looks like he lost track of where that wall was on the outside of the car. Just kind of gets up there, gives it a little bit of a nudge, and unfortunately with this concrete, the Virginia concrete, as it were, it's almost like glue. It sticks together like glue on glue.
That's a good song by Sugarland, Stuck Like Glue. No country music fans in the house.
High parts? You sing the high parts?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
The only great Canadian film I think I've ever seen is South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut with Terrence and Phillip.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very classic Canadian film. Yeah, I'm not your pal, guy.
I like how that's the one that stands out for you for out of every great Canadian film.
Greatest of all time. It's just the GOAT.
They have goats.
Tim Terry introduced you to the Trailer Park Boys.
It's not a film. It's a great TV show.
There's movies. There's three movies.
But come on. A lot of them were watered down. That's a good debate for a caution. It was definitely watered down when they started actually, scripting a lot of it. It felt unscripted in the show.
Lost it for me when Snoop Dogg and Tom Arnold made an appearance. That's where, lost me a little bit. But watch some old Trailer Park Boys after we wrap up the 300 here. We're getting close to lap 100. There's Brandon Campbell. 99 cars, some drivers take advantage of this caution here, and they start to double up. There's Ryan Libby in the 46 car. Handful of cautions in this race. Had some good green flag stretches here, so seeing what these cars are able to do on a medium run. I don't want to say it's a long run because there's still a lot of racing left to go. Looks like it's going to be about 2:05 when we restart here. Mr. Terry.
Yeah, green flags back in the air. Barkhouse and Axum fighting it out again, and this is the second time all night, Dylan, we have seen the outside lane actually compete for the race lead, and on old tires at that is Colton Evingham almost absolutely lost that one off the exit of the corner, but the 48 was able to save it right in front of the 38 of Roma.
Definitely got to be scary there for Roma. You're seeing a driver, Matt, just slide right in front of you there.
Yeah, definitely a scary moment as we see. Still struggling with a little bit. Seems like to be really loose. See Travis Roma coming right up under the bumper there. Everyone's single file right now, dear Terry.
Travis is.
Yeah, still holding single file out here. I got to tell you, if I see a driver sliding in front of me, I would end up just going right in the rear end of them because my feet don't work as like they used to. But you see a lot of great battles going on through this field. The fight right inside the top 10, the fight literally going into the top 10 has been phenomenal. Biggest story here as well, the 97 has worked his way back up to the cusp of the top 5 position. And this is so far, I'm not going to say this could be our best green flag run yet, but it is shaping up to be an excellent battle to almost get us to the halfway point.
Just hold that thought. We're only
crossover lap 100 here.
Holy.
So all these drivers again looking for state they want to slide into to keep on going here in the TCM300, and using the word slide pretty good there, because we're seeing some of these drivers, I think, with some tires that are really starting to wear and tear here, just trying to find their position. Lap 103, Thomas Axum still leading in front of Barkhouse and the number 48 car, and then we see Brandon Campbell battling right now on track 2 with a couple of cars behind him side by side.
Yeah, a good majority of this field is sitting side by side at the moment. You see a little bit of the back half of the field starting to get racy. The front half of the field starting to kind of dwindle down a little bit of who has the faster stuff. The top 10 is separated by 3 seconds. A bobble from the leader, and you accordion this back together. And we see these drivers all try to keep the focus. And to the slide part of it, I'm almost positive with 107 laps and about 80 or so under the green flag, they're pretty hot at the moment. But we go back to lap times as well, still have only fallen off 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, and I think the top 5 is kind of thinking what you're thinking there, Terry. If the leader makes a mistake, they have a chance to capitalize and take advantage of gaining that one extra spot. As you see, Barkhouse is just edging ever so closely to the bumper of, Barkhouse edging so closely to the bumper of Axum. But it just seems like everyone's just starting to line up and just trying to wait for the mistakes to happen.
Well, the 97 just came down pit lane, so not sure if that was scheduled on his part or if the damage just got too much. I saw him wash up the racetrack there. Not sure if he made contact with the wall or if somebody made contact with him, but we go on board here with Jason Goss. He's to the outside here, and he's fighting with Ryan Messer, who's done a wonderful job driving through this field, or dropping in the field. Goss has done a masterful job coming up 16 positions to that 9th place spot. And Dylan, he's still trying to pinch that bottom lane down.
Don't count him out. Even in that B main earlier, you really didn't have to count him out. He got in through a consolation and getting a pass basically to get in this race. But the 41 certainly going to earn their spot here. We're on board with Aiden Christensen, watching Goss and Ryan Messer battle. Oh, and Messer slid up the track a little bit there in turn 3. Came very close to hitting that number 41 car. A little bit of worse for wear on the front of that number 41. But like we were saying a bit earlier, one thing happens in front of these drivers. A lot of them are going to get tangled up here with just nowhere to go. It's on the front and the back straightaway, and even the turns too, Terry, as there's only a little bit of the track that does not have, Goss just slammed the wall hard there. There's an example where there's just no runoff on the in or the outside here.
Yeah, there's absolutely no wiggle room. If you miss it by an inch, the track takes a mile. And that's the way the short track scene works. Whether you're in Canada watching late model stock racing or you're in America watching late model stock racing, there is no worse for the wear for any of these drivers, because we hadn't even got to the halfway point yet, Matt, and we're already all crinkled up throughout the field with maybe 5 of these drivers not having any damage at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, hardly any cars here that have 0 damage. I even think like Barkhouse or Axum had some damage from the initial caution off the start. But like we mentioned before, one mistake happens and you wreck almost half the field, like we saw in the first couple laps. And so anything they can do to gotta stay focused and take advantage of certain mistakes, but don't get caught up in someone else's big blunder. That's definitely a fine line of happening. If we were so close, like we see Christensen in 24 car put the wheels right up on the 41 car, going on the backstretch there.
Oh, how about this battle, boys? They've been leaning into each other for about 5 or 6 laps. Ryan Messer pulled away from this, and now Goss is going to pull away. from the number 24, Brandon Campbell, and now the 22 car are going to slide near the number 24. That's some rock'em sock'em racing, but Terry, there's only so much rock'em sock'em racing you can do for eventually something's going to give on that car.
Yeah, and that's the new damage model. Unfortunately, didn't work its way into the late models that we're seeing on the racetrack right now. You're taking a look at the 99 and the 22. That's Campbell and Byron. They've been leaning on each other. Well, I mean, pretty much since we threw the green flag, they've been roughly around in the same spot. And you've got a point. There's eventually going to come a time where they're going to keep beating into each other, and I had to make sure I worded that one correctly. But if they continue on, you could end up having a tire issue. You could get sit in the wall. It's obviously already affected a couple of our drivers who have had to come down pit lane to fix damage. It even made Todd Cousins wreck on his own, where he just couldn't control the steering wheel. The 36, big issue there. And he is slow, and that thing does not look good.
I think he pulled a Kyle Larson. I think he may have hit the entrance there of pit road, or did he get a little bit of help from the 97? We're going to cut away here to a replay.
Oh, he got some help.
Yeah, 90.
No caution, though. Surprising.
He was off the racing surface. That was the only good part. And
right here is where I thought he maybe pulled it. Yeah.
He got that damage earlier in the race. I mean, we've seen a lot of accordion effects, Dylan, in this show where they just can't get going on the restarts.
Give another shout out to Noel Fugier, hell of an anthem singer. He can sing "Oh Canada" and the Star Spangled Banner like nobody's business. It's lap 129, coming up to 1 lap 30. 130. Easy for me to say. It's getting late here in Nova Scotia, as Thomas Axum is still the leader. I think he has led nearly every single lap so far. And there's Roma with Evernham battling pretty good here, with Mike Alexander biding their time. That's the top 5 right now here. And then you've got Josh Langell, Collins, Rhino, Messer, and Goss, the top 10. Looks to be, as you can see with the score ticker, there are 13 cars on the lead lap right now.
Yeah, and that's honestly kind of surprising. I mean, Dylan Black came down pit lane. He's 1 lap down. Obviously, we saw the issues with Noel. He went a lap down just by virtue of being spun out onto the apron, and that constitutes some type of merit. Not 100% sure if the caution flag does wave, if we're going to wave drivers around to get them back on the lead lap or not, but only 2 are 1 lap down. You got Tyler down there. He's 2 laps down for Campbell Delaney, 3 laps down for Aiden Christensen, where we honestly thought that he might have been the one to win this race, and he's sitting back in the 18th position. So a lot of fast drivers, Matt, already, victim of circumstance and wrecking.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate in those circumstances, which is why we mentioned time and time again, it being such a long race, you've got to have that patience to just bide the aggressiveness. We see the 5th caution out for today. Not sure what happened there. Do we have a replay of it, Paul?
Working on it. Not entirely sure. Don't see anybody pointed in the wrong direction as we zoom out and kind of take a peek around the racetrack. And we did see this happen in a heat race last night, where we had ourselves a little bit of somebody pushed the caution button a little bit too quick. But it does look like we've got some pit stops coming down. Some drivers coming down for pit stops.
Your leaders are coming to the pits. Leaders are coming to the pits here on lap 137. Advantage to throw some fresh tires on these cars, fuel them up to be good to go. Don't know to be able to make the distance here, but certainly for a good stretch, you can see Mike Alexander in front of Matt Barkhouse. Langell's going to pull out in front of Thomas Axum here, so maybe Josh only took 2 tires to maybe try to see if he can get the jump here. And we know sometimes with short track racing, you can get that advantage if you only take right side tires. So we'll see if Josh is able to pull this out pretty good. He may be the leader when we restart here, and it looks like he will.
Yeah, it seemed like a long stop for Barkhouse there. Might have taken 4 tires and not sure what else, but hope he plays out. He's currently lined up 4th, looks like.
Well, I guess we're going to find out. I
I
mean,
think everyone else would have taken 4 tires in this sense.
yeah, I mean, if you if you think about it, you really wear the right sides out more than you do anything else. So if you took 2 tires at the moment, at the moment the way scoring is lining up, Josh has the lead. Axum will be second, and Barkhouse in third. We'll see how patient they are with that 18. Maybe into turn 1 they get a little impatient already, because you always want the track position.
Track position is definitely important, but with everyone grouped up like this again, I don't know how aggressive you want to be right off the restart off the hop. Like, do we end up getting another big wreck like we did at the beginning, or like we're not even halfway through the race here, boys?
Hi. On this restart, Josh Langell is going to be the leader, holding the point once the pace truck pulls off. Thomas Axum on their outside, Matt Barkhouse, Mike Alexander, Collins, Campbell. Green flag is back out in the 300.
Yeah, and that outside lane for now would be the 3rd time where we've seen anybody be able to make that outside lane work, and especially firing off on a restart. In general, he's actually going to take the race lead with that move. So put the fastest driver back to the lead. Thomas Axum gets it done. He'll get ahead of the 18 of Josh. How do you say it again? Langell. And then Barkhouse slides into third. I just wanted to hear you say it. But we got a car around, and don't know if that's going to throw the caution. He's hard against the outside wall, and that is Goss.
One car.
And Goss was in the top 10, too.
Take a peek at that U-House Racing Designs instance. You see the 34 Rhino get a little bit loose. The 41 tries to take advantage, gets down, hits the apron a little bit, loses control of his car, and then gets a little bit of a nudge ski down there. Puts him down into the racing groove. Almost got it sorted out, but it looks like something going on with the steering of that car. So we had to throw the caution out once again here at South Boston.
Yeah, the 22 car kind of looked like a sitting duck there when the 41 came up. He had no really nowhere to go, and just got in the back of him.
You can see it looks like the 22 car going to get an end of longest line penalty. Lets drivers go by there. So going to be a tough climb. Got a long way to go. 5 laps shy of the halfway point here, Dylan. Or Terry. Whomever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll potentially take the green flag with about 2 laps before we take that halfway point, and it has been all Thomas Axum. I mean, he has been up front virtually for every single lap this afternoon. So I would imagine Barkhouse is going to get right behind him here. I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to come down to the 13 and 15 of who's going to win this race. But we have another 153 laps to go before we can decide who wins the TCM300.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think Barkhouse is the only driver out there that currently has something 4 to 13 car of Axum. He's been able to get close, hasn't really been able to really get beside him to challenge per se, but he's been up there within half a second all the way through the race so far.
And the proof is in the pudding, too. You can see the 13 and the 15 car currently running first and third right now on the scoring pile, and you're looking at every driver's best lap time. There's only 2 drivers that have made a 14.7-ish. There's a 14.71 from Axum and a 77 from Barkhouse. Everybody else 14, 8th, and on back. So those guys definitely going to be trying to fight it out here in the second half to see which one's quicker.
Yeah, we're gonna see here. We bunch them back up for this restart. Axum will be on the bottom. Got Josh to the outside. Pace trucks down and in. Green flags back in the air. That was an amazing start. And the 18. He got hammered up there. He tried to block, and that did not work as he's going to slide back to 4th.
Two tires just not working, and Matt Barkhouse, he got that crowbar in there and he wrenched him out of the way, but now Matt Barkhouse is on the outside as Brandon Campbell is now on the inside of Matt Barkhouse, the 99
Oh, and
car.
Barkhouse.
And he makes contact with the 15.
Oh, with the 97 got into him.
Oh,
Caution out.
boy.
Big time problems for the 15 car. A couple of drivers getting a piece of the action in there as well. We'll pull that up on the U.S. Racing Design instant replay, and that's the magic of technology and live TV. We can rewind whatever we want. We'll take a peek at it here, and you can see the 99 car kind of shot out of a canyon almost, and he's kind of bending back, just kind of in that second half of the top 10 or so, and he's kind of made his way up into the top 5, and here you see he's down on the bottom side of the 15, gets in, hits the apron just a little bit. Everything looks good until corner exit, and you can see just kind of gets up into the 15, almost has it saved, doing a little Tokyo drift there, and you can see kind of in that high side racing groove, nowhere for the 97 to go. That's going to bring out the caution here.
Yeah, it almost seemed like Campbell just tried to keep him on the high, keep the 15 on the high side, and the 15 kind of went down a little bit, and that's where the contact was made. Then again, that's just my point of view on that part.
99 to the back. Look at that.
I was about to say before the caution came out, I mean the two-tire gamble for Langell is not a bad play when early on in this race to see how two tires will handle. So being out, we're at 153. Two tires is still not a bad call right now. But I would definitely look at getting 4 tires later on in this race.
I wonder if it's also teaching anybody else in the field, if he's able to keep a decent piece of track position, because he was kind of mired back there in that 7th, 8th place range, wasn't really able to make a whole lot of moves up to the front. Is this going to tell the rest of the field if he's able to keep it in 2nd or 3rd and the cautions keep piling up? Be like, hey, maybe if we do get a long green flag stretch, maybe a 70 laps, and we come in and put tires on it, would that 2-tire strategy work as the intensity starts to ramp up even more? Which I think we all kind of expect that, we're not done wrecking. Goss is a lap down now. He kind of needs some help, and, creating one is always the easiest thing.
Yeah, and typically especially on the short tracks, that 2 tires, especially if you're, just inside top 10, if you can make it any sort of track position, getting 2 tires to gain on pit road is the best way to do it, and just kind of try to hold it, which would be great on towards the end of the race.
We're back underway here at the 300 at South Boston Raceway Speedway. Josh Langell on that restart, boys, was able to throw that number 8 car on the bottom, and if they can keep it there and stay there the entire time, this strategy could really work out for Josh, as right now for 3rd, it's Mike Alexander and Ryan Messer side by side. Mikey's able to go on the inside and get that position, and then you've got the 95 and Mike Rhino. Rhino's on the outside, and then he's going to also slide, or at least try to. He's going to be passed by Roma. The outside for the number 34 car, not really working. This race, by the way, boys, is official. We're over the halfway point. No rain delays in iRacing, so we don't need to worry about that. But we'll see how many more cautions we'll have here, as we can see Aiden Christensen going underneath Evernham there in the number 46 car. Was a couple of laps down. He's had a heck of a night so far here at South Boston.
Yeah, and if you're any of these drivers fighting outside that top 10 at this moment, let the car do the talking for you. If you're fast, you will be able to make passes here, because the driver in front of you might not potentially have the handle on that car. You take a look at an onboard shot here with Brandon Campbell. They'll come off that bottom. I promise. Matt, you can allude to this too. If you're not having a decent time and your car's not handling right, when you go into the entry of the corner, it might not stick. It gives you that window of opportunity to make that runoff exit, to go door to door with them. And then you have an opportunity the next corner to really outbrake them, make them have to work that outside lane. But don't go over your head here. You don't necessarily have to. This I guess you could say early-ish on in the race.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like even on that point too, like if your cars aren't handling particularly great, but you're trying to make ground in a way, I mean, dive in there, see where it'll stick. But again, you don't want to like go too heavy, or else maybe you collect someone in the process and put them in a wall. But any kind of forward momentum is good momentum when doing so.
Maxim still leading this race in the number 13 car, lap 166. And Flangel boys, this strategy is working out very much in their favor, hanging in second here. At this stage of the race, now the POV shot for Josh. A couple of legend wins for himself, including the Mike Stevens Memorial about a month ago in New Brunswick. Racer 2. Biding his time in second. I got to wonder if he's trying to push the envelope here to stay with the number 13. He's just comfortable sitting in second. There's Mike Alexander, a threat still, and he took the pole challenge earlier too, and he's in the top 3.
Yeah, masterful job. 11 positions up. Our biggest movers in this race, Mike Alexander, Dalton Collins, Travis Roma, Ryan Libby. All up double-digit positions in this one. It has been due to the caution count, the cars involved in the caution. It's always helpful when you can get free positions on the racetrack for other people self-cleaning them out. But still an opportunity to get some spots. You take a look at Roma right here trying to make the move on Rhino. And if you're Rhino, you need to gore your way to the bottom. And you'll have to do it right the moment Rona gets by you. Put it in. Yeah, see, I was waiting on the line to set it up, boys, for the wrestling reference, and at least people get it. But he'll have to find his way down there to the bottom.
EC Dub.
And Beast from Detroit, Michigan.
He'll get down there.
I have no idea where Mike Rhino's from.
Oh, he had the opportunity. He missed it there. He missed the corner almost completely. I don't think he can get to the bottom there, Matt, because he has not been able to do it. The past couple laps, it's like he's just absolutely, the car just wants to go straight on him.
Yeah, Terry, it just looks like the cars are not turning at all. Like he's just staying on the high side, but he can only seem to stay up there, not really turning at all. He's not getting any speed off the corner. So he's losing all kinds of positions, all kind of ground. He needs to find a way to get this car onto the bottom and work properly.
You can even see him here. I mean, the onboard shot, look how much he's having to fight that thing to get it off the corner, to even try to carry some speed. He's got some yaw in that thing. It's like when he comes off the corner, he has to yaw the thing back to the right to allow it to roll off the exit. And unfortunately for him, he's got a massive train behind him that nobody wants to let him in. Their cars might not be handling the best, but they're handling a lot better than Rhino is at this moment, as he's going to potentially fall outside this top 10 here.
Oh, absolutely.
He
like I said,
is
not turning. Oh, he's got
like
a handful there getting to the bottom. Or sorry, that's the game of the lane we see here in the POV. But yeah, he's just nowhere to get down to the bottom, and just I got no solution for doing it, but he's got to find a way to get that thing handling properly. Dylan, I think you were going to talk about something there.
He's falling like a sack of potatoes right now. And he's got to jam it in. He's just got to jam it in here because he is just not in a spot he wants to be side by side with the 46 car. And you can just see how the outside is just not working. And he gets out in front of the 46 a bit. He's got to try and throw it down if he can. 46 in the center of the corner is just able to get to the quarter panel.
I just think the sad part about it is at this moment is even when he had the opportunity to get to the bottom, I'm not sure that 34 can run that lane. I think he potentially is very comfortable in that second groove. He gets to the bottom that time, but look, it starts to come off that bottom instantaneously. If he has any pressure to the backside of him, I'm not 100% sure he can get that thing to stay down there. I mean, look, he'll come down. He salvaged to the 9th place position, but he fell really, really hard in that one. He was sitting up there right in that 4th place position, and now look at him. He's back there not running the speeds he were running earlier. He's got a 15.224 on the board. That time he puts an 8. The cars behind him are faster. They're about a half a tenth off of him, and there we go. We'll see what Brandon Campbell can do as he starts to put the pressure on there for that 9th place position.
Brandon uses what they call the old chrome horn to knock the 34 out of the way, and you said it there too, Terry. You're behind someone who is really, really slower than you. You want to try the outside. The choices are limited. Either you're going to try and get on the inside of him out of a turn.
Around, yep. Caution.
Bump into him. Oh, well, there we go.
I thought I saw
it's Matt
15
Farkhouse
go
again.
Sideways there.
Yeah, a couple of quick cars caught up in this one. You saw Barkhouse, the 46 car Libby, up into the outside. Oh, we'll take a look at the U-House Racing signs instant replay, and you can see the 15. Everything looks good. 46 gets in there a little bit hot, it looks like. Gets into the back bumper of the 15, and there you can see they seem to point and wave at each other. So I just have the gut feeling that I kind of want to back this up just a little bit and take a peek. You can see here the 15 was behind the 46. This is about a half a lap prior. No contact or anything there, so that looks good. 46 gets up into the wall. 15 goes down low.
Yeah, no contact there still.
Yeah, no
I
contact.
I just think the 46 just drove it hard, locked it up, front brakes, and just couldn't turn.
That's what it seems like, because we've seen that 46 car down the bottom side most of the race so far, and we're getting close to 66 and 2/3% of this thing being done at the 206 lap marker.
Numbers don't lie, Paul.
The numbers
and it spells
don't lie.
disaster for you. Spells disaster for you at the TCM 300.
TCM 33rd and the 3rd.
Tim's going to go back and rewatch this and realize that none of us should ever be on a broadcast together ever again.
J-E,
four-way
double
action up here. E-double-T.
A-double-R,
Wait, how do you spell
T.
that?
E-double-F, E-double-R, E-double-T.
What?
Ha, ain't he great? What? $90 in the books, boys. 110 left to go.
We only have 110 to go. This is cake. This is so super cush.
Pace lights are off to trucks, and next time around, we're going to go green flag racing. Michelangelo and Thomas Axum on the front row. We're going to see what kind of a jump the 8 or the 13 is going to get here. Look at those flash bulbs flickering. Green is back out.
Yeah, and Axum gets a good jump there on this restart. You see the side-by-side action going on behind here, and from second on back, we decide to run it, and now third. Oh, big trouble happening there. Had a car around, but no caution.
Green.
There, yeah.
No caution for that one. Good for them.
Got it sorted out and pointed in the right direction. Still trying to chase down this 13 car.
Oh, see a car on the wall there, around. Yeah, caution it out. Looks like Messer. Could be wrong. 97.
97 car of Tyler DiVincenzo. See, up in the wall there, we're going to have to back this one up because it looks like he was wrecking that 97 car for a bit. Kind of running by himself here, and you can see that car has definitely seen better days. Lots of damage all the way around it. Kind of misses the corner there. Almost looks like something breaks again. Up into the outside wall, kind of touches it just a little bit. Trying to hold on to the back end of the race car. There you see it just comes around right in front of the leaders. That's a very scary spot to be. Luckily, the field gets by without any kind of incident.
That car was skewed a little bit, just the way the damage it is, but hard to say what kind of damage is underneath of it.
A little cattywampus, if I do say so myself.
It's
wrong
such a
yellow pit
shame
box.
that he was real strong at the start of his race, and will like to be one to challenge for the win.
We'll cross over the 200 mark under caution here with Tommy Axum still leading this race. Josh Langell second, Ryan Messer, Alexander, and Evernham 5. Comers and goers right now, boys.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the comers and goers aren't necessarily happening because of what we thought. We initially thought that tire wear would play into a factor, the sun going down, the moon coming out. We would start to see drivers come through this field as the track changed. It has been pure chaos that has cost us to lose some of the faster drivers in this field. Barkhouse going around. He was in the top 3. We thought Aiden Christensen would be a driver that would be able to fight for this win. He's 3 laps down on this field as he got one back on that caution. Now 4 laps down again. Like, there is so much that has happened in this one. We thought that Goss was going to be a driver contending for this. He's sitting back in I believe he just moved up to the 12th place position on the field. So the cautions aren't over. We're going to come to 99 laps to go, Dylan, and, well, the hits just keep on coming.
99 laps.
No, if you don't grow. Sean, if you don't know.
Just to add to your
Are we
point
singing
there,
that, or are we singing All-Star?
just to add a point there, Terry. It seems like a lot of this is coming down to just survival, because we see like all the comers and goers, like you mentioned. It's just from a lot of beating and banging off each other, and just trying to get ahead. Just be able to survive the rest of the last 98 laps of this race is going to be a challenge for the drivers. How are they going to manage it?
I mean, I honestly think that with the way we have thinned the herd in this race, that if we are going to see a driver come out and potentially beat Thomas Axum, it's truly going to take a miraculous run. I mean, you take a look back there, Alexander and Messer are fighting it out. They've had their own issues in this race. Still semi-clean cars. Messer's got a little bit of damage there, but if you're going to make a run for it, the bump and run's going to have to be a good thing. But that guy sitting in second's not running too bad a lap times either. Not going to point that out, the 2-tire strategy, at least on the short run, Dylan, has been really good for him. He might be racing for a Bojangles.
There really hasn't been an opportunity to see a long-term run for Josh Langell in the number 8 team, whatever you want to call it. But man, oh man, whatever is going on right now is really working as they're keeping within striking distance. Thomas Axum, and who knows, there could be, like we see in racing plenty of times, a late race restart, and all it takes is either a driver spinning those tires, and they say Robin's racing, maybe on that start, if they are equal, you lean into the driver a little bit, try and get that driver on the outside or on the inside a little uncomfortable, at the risk of being sent to the back if you wreck that driver. So we'll see what Josh's strategy is if they're able to stay in second. We got a good little tussle back here between Roma and Ryan Messermack.
Yeah, it is a really good battle going on here between the 75 and the 1. You got Campbell coming to the fray as well. A lot of those drivers clogged up behind this 2x2 race that we have here for that third place position as Alexander gets the run off the exit in the 75. He's able to almost clear the 1, and going into the corner there, the Messer's just able to get right back there. But now look, here comes Campbell to the outside. He'll challenge for that 4th place position as they work down to the start-finish line.
'99 car on the outside of Ryan Messer. Brandon Campbell was a driver who we saw earlier front, and now they are on point to crack into the top 5 solidly here, and they get in front of Ryan Messer.
Yeah, and that's kind of surprising that the bottom lane was not necessarily the fastest lane. That outside starting to come in as the track definitely has cooled down in this race. As now you look at the Aiden's a couple laps down, but he's still fighting hard. He's out here getting everything that he can, hoping that you do have a good bit of caution flags that he's not involved in to get a lap or 2 back of this one, get back on the lead lap. He's definitely got a I wouldn't say a race-winning car, but he has some speed in that number 24. And there's Rhino again trying to fight to keep inside this top 10 as Dalton Collins looks to the inside.
.217 in here. Now make it 218 at the 300 as everyone is just trying to scramble to get clean racetrack. But it's tough when you got drivers on the outside. You don't want to lean into them. And okay, we're able to hang on to it. What a save by Campbell Delaney. That right there just shows there's not a ton of wiggle room for these drivers, and Campbell did a great job. But Roma, well, yeah, not so much.
Pointed in the wrong direction, grabbed a gear, and got going again. There's the mix-up. Let's back this up a little bit more because there was some tangliness going on up there with that 9 car and a phenomenal save. And we got to give Campbell Delaney props for that. So let's take a peek at this in slow motion, I feel like, because right here, a quarter of a lap ago, they were all single file. They get into the corner. There's the contact between the 9 and the 08, and they're simultaneously spinning. It looks like they're going to try and straighten each other out. And then the 24 car. So there's the 3 wide or so. The 22 gets a piece, 95 in there. And there you see Roma. There doesn't look like there's much racetrack for him to really use up in that 38 car. So you can see everybody's trying to gather it back up. Oh, and there you see Mike Rhino just gets into the quarter panel, spins him up around into that outside wall, gets a good shot to the back of that car too. So that's going to be tough. We've seen that 38 car beaten and banged all night long, and man, it's going to be tough to see if that Roma car can get up towards the front.
Looks like we had a little bit of split decisions going on here as some drivers coming down the pit lane, and 3 decided to stay out on the racetrack. Collins, Byron, and Rhino stay out here. That's surprising, to say the least.
Definitely an interesting strategy, considering we still have 75 laps to go when we get to the green flag. It'll be interesting to see how Axum does in a bit of traffic here. We haven't really seen him in any bit of a pack. He's been always out front. So will he still handle well in dirtier air? Or will he be able to get back up to the lead, in a reasonable fashion?
Old strategy caught, and let's see how this plays out. $5 left to go. We'll see, boys, if doing this late run of the pits will work for any of these drivers here. Collins on this restart will be the leader. Biron, the outside, in the number 22. Rhino, line up in Looks like maybe they actually went to the pits there as everyone starts to settle in. Rhino's going to back of the field by the looks of things.
Hit the pylons right there.
$75 left to go.
I think this could set up for potentially some leaders, if there's another late race caution, to make a 2-tire stop and stay up front.
The thing is will they pit again? I mean, from here you can send this thing all the way to the end, even with some cautions. But the strategy for the top two, would this be a race-winning move if the cautions continue to fly the way they are, or if Axum just for some reason barrels it 3 wide there?
I feel like Axum is a little bit smarter than that to push it 3 wide right off the hop. He's been running a smart race all night.
Hey, here we go. Green's back in the air. Will be the leader as they go through the back straightaway with Biron running in second. We've got Axum with fresh tires on that number 13 sitting in third and getting ready to pounce as they now wind on the outside with all those fresh tires. They're going to make easy work around the number 22 car.
And it looks like he's about to make easy work on Dalton Collins as well as he gets to the outside of the 95. Dalton pinches up just a little bit, and we'll see how hard Dalton races him here off the exit of the corner. A little bit of contact, but Axum's gone.
And I don't think you could have fit a tissue paper between the 95 and the 13. As the 13 gets the lead back here, Josh Langell got kind of held up by Brett there in the 22 as Brett starts to wiggle back in that number 22 with worn out tires. Had to gamble, and we'll see if they can stay near the top 10, but they're going to drift back behind the number 1 car. The number 8 just could not get around the 22 on that restart as well, so it kind of killed the momentum that Josh had here, as now he's stuck behind the number 95.
He'll make that run here. He'll try to look to the inside of Collins. He'll get there. You have to move him up off the bottom just a little bit. You see the 48. He has the bird's eye view of this one. He's going to have to make quick work of that number 95 of Collins. As he'll look to the inside, and he thought better of that one. Looked like Collins was going to go down to the inside lane and kind of block that one off. Campbell, everybody is going to leave Collins up to the outside lane and not give him any room, Matt. As well, we're almost done.
Yeah, it's getting down to what could be the very last green flag run here. Everyone's got their tires pretty well. It should be the last stop, anyways. When over the caution we just had. Pretty well single file now. We see the 95 cars flying back. So everyone's pretty, like I said, single file now. Axum, Langell, and Everham all within a second of each other, and so with Brandon Campbell. I will say Brandon Campbell's been a bit of a surprise for me tonight. I haven't really seen him run.
He sucks in real life.
Say that, Matt. Like he just, I don't know. The last few races I've seen him try to race in TCM shows, he's never really shown up as much as we've seen him tonight. Running in the top 3 right now, with almost getting a shot right now to challenge for the lead. It's a good surprise. I like the guy. But I guess we'll see how he handles the situation with coming to 60 laps to go.
Him and Josh Langell are good buddies, and I'm wondering if they maybe shared a setup because Josh is all over the bumper in the middle of the corners on the back of the number 13, and Brandon Campbell is looking to try and catch up to his buddies. So would have 2 drivers in the same camp, Terry, closing in on first, and I wonder how much teamwork is going to play here in this finish. There are 59 left to go.
Well, they always say teamwork makes the dream work, and if you're looking lap time-wise, Brandon Campbell is the fastest driver on the field. We'll see if that sticks true on this one. He was the second fastest driver. Our race leader set one down 5/1000ths of a second faster from Axum over Campbell. So not too bad. If you're the 99, maybe he was waiting on the tires and the track to cool down. You didn't want to show your hand. You wanted to pull the Kenny Rogers approach of knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them. And maybe he's going to walk away with the money here tonight. As you take a look, the lap times are on your screen. That time, Langle was faster. The 18 was able to work his way up there and get a little closer to the back bumper of Axum.
Dylan,
You got
you
yourself a
mentioned that
3-horse race now.
Dylan, you mentioned how they're good buddies, Langell and Campbell are. But is this one of the scenarios where, Langell taught Campbell everything he knew, but not everything that Langell knows?
I don't want to guess to not hurt anyone's feelings, but I'm betting there's some good teamwork there. And that's going to be the key thing, too, because you got to think with this kind of racing, and even we're seeing it with Formula One, where teamwork is somewhat thrown out the window sometimes, and then there's team orders and everything. I wouldn't expect anything like that here, but Josh and Brandon are going to have to play nice here for a little bit to try and get around the 13. If you're the 13 car, you got to think of, okay, he may not be aware that those two guys are buddies. Brandon and the number 18 are going to race each other clean here. And there's Mike Alexander, too, took the pole challenge. Now, he's not running consistent fast lap times, but I bet if he gets around this number 46 car, we could have ourselves a fatal four-way tear.
Yeah, and if we get a fatal four-way, we'll truly have to realize if all men are created equal, or if he's just a genetic freak and nobody can touch him. Axum's been the guy all race long, but if the teammate play works, you get a little shake and bake action, maybe a little slingshot engage here at South Boston for the 18 and the 99 to get around the fastest sheriff in town here in Virginia. It'll be fun to see. Lap traffic, if we stay green, could potentially play a spoiler here, Matt, but we'll have to see if that comes to fruition as they're putting down some heaters. The back half of the field, they're throwing ice chunks at each other.
We're inside 50 laps to go now at lap 253. And in my mind, it seems like with Langell and Campbell being second and third, it's a lot of, in a way, kind of give and take. They want to be able to work with each other to get up to the leader Axum. Because if you start racing side by side, you're not going to make any ground. In fact, you'll lose ground that way, just given how racing happens, being so close and tight knit. And doing so, it sucks for Campbell just kind of sitting in third and not doing anything right now. But you kind of have to buy your time. It was he cautioned out for the 24 car of Aiden Christensen.
He had just gotten 2 laps down. He had just gotten 2 of his laps back as well, and he was close to just being 1 lap down at that moment, Paul.
Yeah, we'll take a peek at that U-House Racing Designs instant replay. Trying to get back on the lead lap all night long. Just gets a big old shot in the pants from the 38 car, sends him on around and pointed in the wrong direction. Nowhere to go at that point. Going to let the drivers go on down below. Grabs the gear, rolls down the banking, almost in front of the 95 car. But gathers it back up. I think he did end up losing another one of those laps. So still an uphill battle for the 24 car here with less than 50 laps to go here in the 300.
I'm not going to say it's impossible with the way kind of how this race is played out, with sometimes several cautions happening in a quick route. But with 43 laps to go, what are likely changes Christensen can get back in this thing there, Dylan? Not sure if Dylan stepped away, but Terry, what are your thoughts on that one?
Oh, sorry. No, I was dumb and looking at my phone. I'm sorry. What were you saying, Matt?
I was just mentioning, with 42 laps to go now, we're not going to say it's over and done with for Aiden Christensen being 3 laps down, because as the way the way this race has played out, we've had so many cautions in a run of this quick route. Is there by chance you think he could get back in this thing?
I think it's going to be a little too tall of a task there for that number 24 driver. The runs we're getting are very good, and I'd love to see this thing go to the checkers on this restart. There's probably going to be about 35 laps to go. I'd love to see run to the finish, but sometimes the drivers lose their heads when there's something big in front of them. When there's the chance to get the checkered flag, to get a big win here, a 300 to start a new iRacing series. And we'll see how they're going to use their heads. That's the only way I can put it here. I'm excited to see this restart. I'm excited to see what Josh can do on the outside of Thomas Axum. I'm also excited to see if Thomas is able to fend off the 1899 when we go back green flag racing. And here we go. 8 on the outside, control cars, the 13, green in the air. Oh, the 46 got a little squirrely there on the restart. Brandon Campbell tried to pass Josh on the inside. No, not able to get as good of a restart I bet they were hoping for. 39 left to go.
No, more contact made there. The 48 and the 99 bang doors down the back straightaway. And for the rest of the field, I'm not sure that's what they want to see. And for Messer, he just came down pit lane and was hoping that strategy call would be able to propel him through this field. Not going to work. And we've got more carnage. Mike Rhino, caution flag. I think we're counters wrong. I think it's 14.
Yeah, the counter off by just a couple. There's a lot of action going on the racetrack here. There's a contact with 36 Fougere and the 48. And you can see big time damage for Fougere, and lots of different things going on in this racetrack. Lots of damaged race cars. Kind of a war of attrition here tonight in the 300 lapper, but you get that when you open up the iRacing season. Everybody kind of dust off the cobwebs just a little bit. One of the things we haven't really touched on too much. Oh, there you see Messer just kind of loses it down on the bottom side of the track, gets on the apron. Looks like he's gathered it back up. Didn't hit anything. So good news there. But with all the other issues on track, got the yellow flag. But Jerry, I think you touched on it earlier a little bit. The sun did go down. We started this race in full sunlight. Track's getting a little bit cooler, definitely a little bit darker. And we saw last night the setup almost completely did a flip-flop. It went from loose to tight and almost back to loose off of entry. And some of the drivers kind of struggled with it a little bit, but we saw a couple of other drivers kind of raise themselves up to the cream of the top. Easy enough for me to say.
Well, I mean, the cream always rises to the top, but what you have to think of, the thing you have to think of here is a guy like Thomas Axum. He's been able to control the car from full sunlight to no sunlight. The track has changed. Rubber has been laid down. You see it here. When we first started this, we first started the practice session. We sat in here and watched for a little bit. They were practicing in the dark, and then it went back to the light. Some of these drivers were not in the B main. Like, they had no idea what the car was going to do in the daylight. So they were ready for night. Now we threw the curveball was thrown and laid there for them. A lot of them, they raced last night, but the track changed. There was a different weather variant in there. Like, there was other things that involved with this racetrack that didn't necessarily play to anybody's favor. But the 13's been the only one that's necessarily just said, "Hey, I got it. Don't worry." And for the 8 or 18, whatever one you want to call him, 2 tires. He flipped the track position game. Now he has an opportunity to let that outside lane roll to hold that 13 down and potentially take the race win.
Yeah, for Langell, almost feel like that.
Potential.
For Langell, almost feel like that race at Darlington back in 2011 for Regan Smith, where he took 2 tires and just held off Carl Edwards. But unfortunately, on the green flag, he has to take a back seat to the 13 of Axum after a great start.
Campbell trying to fight off Mike Alexander on the outside. Brandon's in the black number 99 with 30 laps to go here at South Boston for the TCM300. Magic Mike trying to cast their spell on the outside to take third from Brandon Campbell. Keep good position. Meanwhile, the 95 car is sitting right behind. That's Collins behind Brandon Campbell. And Mikey is able to clear the number 99 using the high, wide, and handsome route.
Yeah, try to pull the Harry Gant there on that outside lane. And you got to find different areas to make some passes here, especially for Alexander. He's in a spot he hasn't necessarily been in all race long. A shot to get P2. He's just set the fastest lap of his personal time with a 14.772. So finding some speed late in this race. We talked about the track changing. Maybe it has fallen into Mike Alexander's hands as he is still consistently, well, he was 2 laps the fastest. And cars around Campbell.
Oh, Brandon Campbell.
Ooh, having a great night for him going so far until he spun out there. Not sure any help there. Paul, do we have a replay of that?
Indeed, we do. Take a look at the 9's spin here, the double 9's, as it were. Getting in everybody's single file. 95 gives him a little bit of a nudge, and it almost looks like the 99. Oh, how about that? Might have overcorrected the steering just a little bit, but he made up for it in that fantastic braking. Didn't hit anything, grabbed the gear, spun around, and got to going once again. Gonna lose a bunch of track position here, so might be a good opportunity to come down pit road, maybe bang out some of the dents on there. And I don't know if he's got any tires left on pit road. Maybe he might be able to put some scuffs on it.
Well, if he does have tires, it'd be a good time to go get them and see what we can do. Make up some positions on track. And with 25 laps to go, it's hard to say how far he'll get there.
There you see the right side up and down, Terry. So we're going to see if that 99 can do anything with two side right side tires. Yeah, that's a thing. With 2 right side tires on that 99.
Well, I mean, he's going to be no lower than, I believe, 11th or 12th. Not a bad spot to be in with 24 laps to go. We should take the green with 22, Dylan. Good opportunity. He gets back inside the top 7 or so, with a lot of these drivers going to be leaning on the doors a little bit more than what we've seen so far in this race.
Yeah, easy for me to say. It's going to be an interesting final part of this 300. Looks like maybe 22 laps to go when we refire here at South Boston. Tax him. If he hasn't led every single lap, he's led nearly all of them. If we were doing lap money like at some races, he'd be cashing out big time. There's a chance that he could be cashing out with a little bit of money, courtesy of TNL Abatement. We'll see. We can't cash the check yet, boys. The race ain't done.
I'm kind of curious here what
Langell again on the outside.
I'm curious what the 75 does here on this restart, because the 13 has went in the exact same spot almost every single restart. Did Mike pick up on that? Maybe did the 8 pick up on that? Like, was there a driver that kind of saw the sweet spot that he was going in? And nope, they didn't. He's gone. I answered for myself.
On.
I don't know what
On, and
does, but he always hits giant leaps.
Dynamite, and the 8 car was able to get in front of Mike Alexander, so to get on the inside the preferred line. Seeing a few cars spin out further back. There's 20 laps to go here in the 300. Can Josh Langell reel in and hook back on the number 13 as Byron on in the 22 was completely sideways in the corner, got a little bit of a love tap, and they're going to fall another position here. 19 left to go in the 300.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more racy action back here in the back, Matt. There, we've seen sideways, Collins, Rhino fighting it out here. That's this is going to become pandemonium before we finish these 17 laps.
Oh yeah, beating and banging off each other, especially towards the back. Seems like the front is kind of a little more organized, trying to plan their attack within between Langell, Alexander, and even Evernham up there in fourth spot. To see what they can do coming towards 15 laps to go in this race. Dylan, if you're in one of these drivers' top three shoes or seat, really, what are you planning? What are you thinking?
Right now, if I'm Mike Alexander, I got to battle now the number 48 car who's getting under me. So that plan may change completely for Mike Alexander because he may have been thinking, okay, I'm going to get the second, then I'm going to get the first, bing, bang, boom. But now he's got to try and fend off fourth here as Colton Evernham closing in on the number 75 Mike Alexander, the driver who took the pole challenge. It's behind Thomas Axum, who's got a little bit of a lead there. You can see on the score ticker about 0.4 of a second in front of Josh Langell right now. We are running out of laps here, Terry, in this 300, so something's got to give. What does Mike Alexander do? Does he try and pry that door open, or does he hope the 8 can get to the 13, and does he stay in the catbird seat?
Yeah, I think you have to kind of play this devil's advocate wise. If you're the 75, you give it maybe 6-ish laps. You get halfway point of it, and if he hasn't made any headway on that 13, you're like, you know what? Move. I got the 48 behind me. I've got to get you out of the way too. But the 8's kind of been able to make some inroads, and then he loses it. Not too sure. It's kind of like what we saw earlier, where one half of the track is worse than the other half of the track. And here we go. He lost a little bit of ground up to the front bumper of the 75, and he almost uprooted him there.
He's got to give here eventually. The 75 is going to have to tap Josh out of the way to try and catch up to Thomas Axum. He just can't sit there because he's got the 48 hot on his heels too. So the 48 is very much similar to the 75, just waiting. And I think the 48 went in that corner a little hot, boys, and maybe made a bit of contact with the 75. Mike Alexander, Terry, is closing in with about 6 laps to go. Does he follow your advice? I don't know. I know you're not in his ear per se, but he may have to follow that advice willingly, and there's maybe a chance for him to do it here in the next corner or two.
Well, we're getting to the lap that I kind of thought that if he's going to move him, he's going to have to, and it's right here. He gave him just a little bit of a shot. Oh, he got a shot too. Don't worry, but he saved it. Oh, he saved it. Oh, doesn't matter. No caution, though. Oh, they threw it. Oh, they were off the racing service, Tim.
Grabs a gear and goes. How about that? Almost had it saved, and then just a little bit more contact. So we'll back it up and take a peek at that little heads up, hands-on driving, as it were, for the 75 car, and get that taken care of.
I was just about to say, I mean, if I'm Mike Alexander, I would have, try to attack the 8 car a little sooner to move him out of the way, because we were at 7 laps to go. There's almost no time left.
Take a peek at it on the onboard, and you can see hard on the left-hand turn. There's the bump pull, sawing on it about a half a lap prior, and there's the contact just trying to hold onto it, straightens it out, almost has it. There it is. Nope, there's the nudge, sends him on around, and unfortunate there. That's going to be another uphill battle, but it's going to give him an opportunity to maybe come down, get some tires, but does he have enough time to do anything with them?
No. I'll shoot that one down. No. You're going to be 13th. We'll get a 2-lap run at max. I think our eyes here, Campbell Delaney has put himself in a good position. We haven't seen Brett Byron up here either in that 4th place spot. Ryan Messers came back. He's on freshest tires in the one. Not sure he has a good chance to win this one. Dalton Collins has fresher tires as well. The top 6, it's going to be just a little bit more wilder. I'm not sure how many green-white checkered attempts we have, but if we have more than one, we're going to use them.
I don't know. If I'm 7th on back, I mean, if I have tires left, why not throw them on? See what you can do with them. It seems to be the race to the win is within the top 3. most likely top 2. So I mean, if I got tires, and I'm 7th on back around there, why not throw them on? What's the worst that can happen, right? The furthest you're going to go down is to 12th or 13th, and that's if it's a bad pit stop and you literally can't go any further.
So here we go. All comes down to this. Lap shootout for the 300. Car, race truck pulls in. Axum gets another great restart. Green is back out. Aney's now on the inside of the number 8 car. He's going to try and steal this thing in the closing stages.
Yeah, and that right there just absolutely killed any opportunity that anybody had to go up there and pass the 13 as the white flag's in the air, 1 lap to go, and all hell's about to break loose behind them.
They're not going to use their heads here. And around turn 3 and 4, Thomas Axum is going to dominate this 300. He's going to win this race. Campbell Delaney second. Josh Langell hangs up in third, and big wreck. Biggest wreck ever. Axum, TCM300 winner. And Paul, I don't know if there's a way you can check who led what lap. I'm pretty confident he led almost every single lap this race.
Yeah, I feel like that 13 car led at least all of the green flag laps. There might have been a couple of pit stops that some drivers got a hold of. I'm actually kind of surprised I don't have access to that stat. Kind of odd, but in any sense, we'll talk to the top 3 drivers here, and maybe a couple of other drivers, maybe the 4th place driver. We'll see. It all depends on what we've got for time here. But a phenomenal race here. As we take a peek, we wait for some of these drivers to kind of trickle in down pit road. There you see Thomas Axum, Campbell Delaney, and Brandon Campbell going to come home on the podium, which is going to have to take a look at the replay and confirm that all up, because I'm looking at 2 different results and they're both different. So we'll get the official word from Tim on the top 3.
So we unofficially right now, your top 3 are the 13, the 9, and the 99. The 18 shown the back of the lap, the 1 coming to the checkered. So we are still looking at the finish. The 13 and the 9 are your top 2. And then we are looking at it right now, unofficially right now. 3rd place is the 99 as they cross the line.
It might be a good opportunity here for Dylan, if you want to talk to that potential 3rd place recipient. You're down there on pit road with the driver of the 99.
Brandon Campbell, my friend, you got a copy?
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Good, man. Good race. You got on the podium here, but you were up in front for a good chunk of this race, and right behind Thomas and Josh there. How'd the 300 go?
It was good. Me, Thomas, Josh, Colton were all in Discord the whole night, so we kind of had a strategy set out. It worked for them. Well, it kind of worked for them. It worked for Axum. I got involved in stuff I didn't need to and went to the back 4 times, but I still don't know how I finished 3rd.
Luck. I honestly didn't know that you were buddies with Thomas. We were saying, oh, maybe Thomas doesn't know that Josh and Brandon are friends, so it all worked out then, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It was a good night. It didn't go as long as I expected. We had some good green flag runs, so it was a good race.
Are you going to the 95's virtual pit stall to have a little chit chat about the contact earlier?
The worst part is me and Dalton are friends too, so I think he's bigger than me, and I'm not flying to Nashville.
Okay. Well, good race, man. Top 3 to start this iRacing season.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I know Tim's not here, but thanks to him for putting it on. And Terry, I did hear the asparagus, so I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm here for you.
Thanks, guys.
And up a little bit further down pit road, I've caught up with the 2nd place driver, Campbell Delaney, and that 9 car. There's a lot of damage all the way around, but you know what? The record shows P2. Talk to us.
Oh man, that was wild. That last restart was all like that was an incredible restart. Like I did not expect to get that much grip out of the rear.
And we know it's a long night here, a couple of green-white checkered restarts, and just kind of a war of attrition. A lot of damaged race cars throughout the field here, and just getting into that last restart. Do you have a plan? Do you try and stick with it, or at that point are you just kind of flying by the seat of your pants?
I think it was kind of just go out and try your best to go win it, but I was on a call with Aiden and Caden, and they're kind of helping me out with strategy and stuff, and that helped a lot. Huge shout out to Aiden for helping me get that pedal fixed halfway through. That was a lot. Um, but really, that whole race, we kind of just gave it our all and ended up there at the end.
Leaning on your friends and your teammates. Hey, we had to do it in the booth. We had ourselves some technical issues, and well, we worked it out for the most part. Everything seems to be a-okay, and everything a-okay coming home in at second. Who else gets you to and from the virtual racetrack? Kicking things off with a bang. Good, solid second place finish here in the iRacing world.
Yeah, honestly, just Dad, Caden, Ducky, everyone on the car, Hard Chrome, LBT Pilots, everyone gets it done. Peak Electric, Borden Electric, Air Graphics. It's a group effort really, and none of this is obviously possible without any of you guys broadcasting it to show all the sponsors and the teammates all this. So definitely good to be back on the sim.
Phenomenal run. Congratulations on P2.
Thank you.
And then the big part of the racetrack over there in Victory Lane. Terry, you've caught up all over the virtual champagne flying in Virtual Lane, or strawberry daiquiris, whatever it is we've got sponsorship here for. But you've caught up with tonight's winner of the TCM300, Thomas Axum.
Yeah, Thomas, man. We didn't get an official lap count of how many you led, but we would imagine it was all but maybe like 20 of them. How good was that car, and how much did you like driving around South Boston?
Yeah, I can't wait to race here again. I've done many. This isn't the first TCM 300 I've done. This is the first one I finished, though. It feels good to be out here. I had a lot of fun. I only had to race a couple of cars on a couple of those restarts, so I didn't have to deal with any carnage. I had a 0x until I did burnouts at the end of the race. Car felt good. We took right side tires and had a good fuel strategy. We were working with Josh Langell, Brandon Campbell, Colton Everingham. We were having a blast. I mean, a little carnage in the field, but all in all, we had some good green flag runs, and that's definitely what I love.
Yeah, and the fact that you said that this is your first one you have finished, you just so happen to finish the best place possible, winning the race. All those people that help you get along, and shout out anybody that was watching that you just want to say hi to.
Yeah, shout out to Tim Terry. I love getting these emails, seeing what races are coming up. Get the calendar planned out, see what's going on. Qualified last night, won the first heat, started third. Mike Alexander did the Big Nuts Challenge, started from the back, almost came back up, but we were able to defend it. And just shout out to the guys we worked with tonight. Like I said earlier, Josh Langell, Brandon Campbell, Colton Everingham, Bernier's Liquors, RKM Setup Shop, and Tim Terry just for putting it on and dealing with all the extra.
Yeah, we like that Tim deals with the extra side of it, and we just have to go talk racing. But congratulations on your win. That's Thomas Axum here, getting it done at the TCM 300.
Thank you, guys.
Speaking of extra, Tim joins us up here in the booth. What a crazy way to kick off the winter TCM events here for the 23-24 season. The TCM 300, it's already in the books, Tim.
I think Thomas kind of summed it up with all the extra that we had tonight. Congratulations to Thomas, dominated the race. The fastest car won this race tonight, so congratulations to him. Just for footnote, we went back and took a look. We're going to have to... I love editing CSVs, by the way. One of my favorite things to do on the sim. Josh Langell will be scored in 11th. Behind the one car at the end of this. He scored his 14th because when we black flagged him, the sim added an extra lap to put him a lap down. So that'll be 11th place on that. But great race. Well, for Thomas, everybody else had a little bit of adversity to come through, but congratulations to all of them. Thank you to Craig Weigel and Paige Drake for helping me out upstairs. TNL Abatement and Remediation and Tulco Electric. Our next event is coming up on Tuesday, November 14th. It's the Wingnut Productions late model stock season opener at Southern National. And then we roll on. So our late model stock season opens up in a week and a half. If you want to get involved in it, head over to timscorner.ca, the Facebook page. We'll get you all hooked up. And I mentioned it about halfway through the show, Paul. Smashed Potatoes is happening once again at South Boston with the street stocks. Maybe the Beatles, maybe something else. We're not sure yet. If they didn't get enough wrecking at South Boston, they can get it the week before Christmas.
And that's what it's all about. And the smashed potatoes is my most favorite time of the year because it's really when we get to find out just how large Tim Terry's vocabulary is. We learned a lot of neat words last season.
And I am back on the racetrack. The paint shop, the Wingnut Productions paint shop is already busy because Dominic is in the shop getting ready. We're going to sing Christmas carols. It's going to be a good time. It's around the same time we do our Tim's Corner Live Christmas party as well. So always a good time. But yeah, congratulations to Thomas. Next one's coming up in a week and a half. Thank you, boys, for putting on the show that you guys do. And a big thank you to Mike James as well. I know he was bummed that he couldn't do what he did last night. But yeah, we'll move on. We'll do next week. And our next show coming up is, as Brandon Campbell would call it, Corner Motorsports on Wednesday, featuring Mike Weagle, Patricia Weagle, Nick Cudmore. Who else do you got lined? Ryan Dixon. And who else do you got? Anybody else?
I'm going to guess it's Ryan Dixon and crew because there's about 100 of them. And I'm sure it's Weagle and crew because there's also 100 of them. Okay. So it might be a long night, Paul.
And Nick Cudmore.
Yeah, still waiting on that one, but okay. I did ask him.
Yeah, let's hope. He's a good interview as well. Mm-hmm. Boys, that's it. Terry, Dylan, thank you. I hope you got your hose clamp fixed, Dylan. Is that all good to go now?
You can hope so.
Yeah, okay. Paul, I hear all the cautions in Dylan's voice. Paul, take us out of here.
Yeah. We are back for Corner Motorsports on Wednesday night. The night after that, going to be the NAP series returning once again for a little Thursday night thunder. Until then, we'll catch you on the flip side with everybody saying Vidane TV. Yeah.
Bush track.